My name is Rhapsody, welcome back, or welcome to Slice and Dice. Welcome back, if you're familiar with Slice and Dice from 1.0, or maybe from the 2.0, maybe from the series already on the channel. But welcome to Slice and Dice if you're unfamiliar with it. And welcome to, incidentally, your new favorite roguelike. I don't say that offhandedly. This is one of my favorite roguelikes, and it lives on my phone, so I probably spend a larger percentage of my time playing this than most other games. I'm very excited to be able to jump into the 3.0 version, which is now its official release on Steam, as well as iOS. As you can hear in the background as well, there's also music now in the game from a diverse range of sources down here. We've also got modding in not quotation marks. Interesting. Very keen to see what happens out of that, but I'm not going to be focusing on it for the moment, as we have green heroes, so a new hero type, portrait orientation, which I don't necessarily understand the meaning of, and everything plus plus. But let's also quickly go through the features. There's not a huge amount of these. Loads, I can't remember. That one's not necessarily going to give us a huge amount of information. More items, enemies, heroes, keywords, modes. The music has been added. Plus infinite modifiers, so maybe some algorithmic generation of modifiers so that it is infinite. Tactics, a new thing like spells, interesting. A custom mode for choosing your curses or playing mods, generated monsters and items, two kinds of generated modifiers, some are weird and must be enabled in the options. We've got various UI improvements, more events, more options, expanded book, pips can go negative, that's important. A bit more hero chat stuff. A portrait layout, adjustable UI for leaving space for the streamer avatar, etc. Better support for alternate party types. Cruel now works with damage, all, headshot, etc. Cool, and keywords are more pervasive in general, e.g. heal poison. And item offers rather now have collision. Item offers now have collision? I'm very, very interested to see what all of this ends up representing here in our first run. Now, I could have imported my 2.0 save over here if I really wanted to, but number one, I lost it. And number two, I think also starting a new save gives a good structure to the series, especially as I'm going to be discovering new modes and new heroes and new items, which will then appear very soon thereafter in the series, most likely. So, let's start out on a hard run. So on a hard run, we can have to choose a curse here, a curse of either 4 or 5 in its weight. The weight is roughly analogous to the effect, the amplitude of the effect. We've got the magnitude of the effect, I guess, and this is what I mean. You know, a 10 would be pretty dire. So 1 fewer rerolls. I'm gonna give the monsters 1 extra HP, because I don't want to be denied anything. I prefer to give the enemies something that I then have to overcome. So the tutorial is exceptionally quick. You can reroll your dice down here on the bottom left, and you can click on a dice in order to lock it. We can also see on each the characters, as well as their die, the net of their die, so all of the possible outcomes of that character rolling that die. So the best result for the thief is doing 2 damage. I could also do that 2 damage ranged, but it doesn't really matter. I can do 2 damage and just lock that in. This is the best result on the defender die. Interestingly, here, for our first run, it's giving us 2 yellow characters, 2 gray characters, and an orange rather than a full party, which would also have a red and a blue instead of the seconds there. I can push for a little bit more damage on the fighter, as I'm only getting 1 damage. There we go. And we get it. So we can click on a hero to use their dice, and we should shield some of the available incoming damage. So the defender is taking 4 damage. I can prevent 3 of that with the 3-pip shield. So we see the magnitude of the result is always represented by the pips. And then the keywords on the card, or the description, the keywords on the side, or the description of the side tells you what those pips are used to do. Obviously, the image is also very telling here that this is going to be damage. So let's throw out enough damage to set the top wolf down to only having 1 hit left until death. I'm not going to tutorialize ridiculously. It will very quickly get to the point that I am just telling you what the keywords that are new mean. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we can see the representation of health out of max health. We can see that yellow pips represent incoming damage and green pips represent incoming poison. You can take out the top liner and then defend. I don't even need to use these final points to defend. They're not going to give me anything in this instance. But I will, just to be complete. Tutorial, reroll only 2 dice. Sure. I'll roll again to see if I get damage, because if I do, that'll do it. Tutorial, monsters should show their intentions to you, and you get a chance to respond. Incoming damage is marked in yellow. So we can see the enemies die here as well, and we can see what is on each of these sides. So 4 damage on 2 sides, 3 damage on 2 sides, and then 1 damage cleave, which means it hits targets to either side of the target on the other 2 sides. Although because the enemy has the extra HP that we gave them with our curse, I was not capable of actually killing them on that turn. But this helps us escape, or explain escaping and fleeing. The wolf is trying to escape. Will you let them? Enemies will try to flee if they think the flight is hopeless. There is no gameplay benefit either way, so I will allow them to flee. We've also unlocked Curse Mastery. We want to fight with 1 curse, so we unlock the mode Cursed. Tutorial, heroes fully heal in between fights, as long as they haven't died in the previous one. So I've been given the option to upgrade the fighter to Whirl, a character which has 1 side that does 1 damage to all enemies, 2 sides that do 1 damage cleave, a side that does 3 damage, and a side that does shield 1 in cleave. We would target that on our own party, of course. And then the Juggler. The Juggler has 2 2-damage sides, 2 1-damage sides, and a self-damage side, and they are all cantrip, which means they activate as they are rolled. So as soon as that lands face up, that will occur, including the self-damage. Ooh. So the Juggler used to have a cantrip gain an additional reroll, and did not have a self-damage. So they have gotten maybe a little bit weaker here. I also do really like Whirl. I'll take that upgrade. We have no items to equip on any of our characters at the moment. I imagine the tutorial will explain what items are when we get there, so I'm not gonna jump past it to do so. Thief is on max damage, and so is the Whirl. I'll lock in a 2 defend from a defender there. Tutorial does not alter gameplay. Really? I would have assumed that it did, because my party is not... There's no mage in my party. Maybe it's trying to say that we're not going to save you if you die in this fight. So fighting 2 rats, well, 2 rats now, and a goblin. The goblin has unique text, it flees if alone. So our goal is to kill everything except for the goblin. If there is a death side on an end turn button, so we can see that over here on the right, a hero is about to die. So we should definitely prevent that. And it's relatively easy to do here, as we can kill the rat, and then the other one, taking out the enemies. Choose an item, a random tier 1 item, again, the parallel to its strength. Anchor, at start of turn 1, shield, self-shield, 2, and then Seedling, replace the left side with 2 damage Growth. Growth gets 1 additional pip on that side after use. That would be... Unfortunately, putting it on the left side is competitive with most characters' best effect is on the left side. I'll just take the self-shield 2 on turn 1. Let's give that to the Whirl as well. Main reason there being that if anyone is going to attack all enemies and possibly get hit by enemies that have thorns or spikes, it'll probably be the Whirl. Also, some enemies, although not the goblin, have targeted spells that are heavy, which means they have to hit the highest HP target, which would make them hit the whirl. But these enemies have eliminate, which means they hit the lowest HP target, so they're targeting the thief. Maybe I should have considered that before I did this. If the thief can roll the ranged attack, I can actually take out the archer. But the archer at the moment is not representing any damage to the thief, so maybe that's not the high priority for us. If I take out the top line goblin, perfect. Then the thief is saved. Best way to prevent damage is by killing the enemy, because that permanently prevents the damage. You never have to deal with that enemy hitting you from then on. They're far too dead to accomplish it. I should let my defenders both roll for higher results. It's important to save the defender... Sorry, it's important to save the thief here. Perfect. 1 health on each of these enemies. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to flee, and they do. Scrapper and the Gambler. So the Scrapper has 2 sides that say 1 damage blood loss. It gets 1 additional pip for each damaged enemy. And then they also have 2 sides that say 1 damage steal. Steal increases by 1 pip for each shield that character has. So on turn 1, the Scrapper, if they had the self-shielding item, the Anchor, would get additional impact out of their steal. There's also the Gambler here, which is a risk. It still only has 3 sides. The others are blank, wouldn't actually do anything if you rolled them. So not unlike the thief. However, one of them is 5 damage, one of them is 1 damage, and one of them is 2. So the 5 damage is great. Everything else, yeah. I'm gonna take the Scrapper. Try and take some advantage out of that Anchor. So the Troll has hit 3 damage in Cleave, cool, doing a lot of damage to that top line, that's fine. Thief is doing its maximum damage at 2 already, so I don't need to re-roll there. I would love to get a... what's the word I'm looking for here? Steel side on the Scrapper. Unfortunately, we don't. We'll get the Thief to attack first, so the Scrapper is getting an extra damage via Bloodlust because of the damaged enemy. And I'll give the additional shielding to the Thief, who's already low on HP. Courtesy of having low max HP, rather than anything else. Well... I can still double dip out of the effect. The Scrapper is taking 2 damage this turn, so if I defend them for 3 with a shield, then they can do 4 damage to the enemy, so it's still good. It's just, it really would have been nice to do that last turn. Oh, tutorial wants me to undo an action. And this is a great opportunity to show that the tutorial, Slice and Dice doesn't lock you into actions that you've taken. I could take an entire turn, get to the end of it, and go, no, actually, I don't think I should have done it like that. The only thing that you can't undo is any randomized result. So like, rolling, for instance. Anyhow, let's get back about our damage. I like that now the pips kind of show you that they're from an alternative source. We can see the pips on Bloodlust are red, the pips on Steel are kind of steely and fading in and out. I like that. Ooh, not keen on this side. The Troll's rarest side here. The worst side of an enemy tends to be the right side of their die. 1 damage, Cleave, Poison. So Poison will also inflict 1 unblockable damage at the end of each turn. It does not decrement. It doesn't decrement. It doesn't decrement. It doesn't get lower after that, which is the real nightmare here. Because I don't have characters that heal at the moment. I'm missing a certain red character that might help. Would have been kind of nightmarish if that had happened at the start of the fight. Oh, it's also worth noting the Troll has been regenerating 1 health at the end of each round, every round. just courtesy of being the troll. We'll take him out. That's our first boss beaten. We've unlocked 2 hero colors, red and blue. Excellent. Very keen to see those at some point. We've got Wandify as one of our items, and Blessed Water. Ooh, Blessed Water has been changed. This used to be on the rightmost side of the die, and it would give you a heal 2 vitality. Now it's heal 3, and replaces the middle. The middle side of someone's die is usually a better result though, so this might have been kind of nerfed, even though the side is bigger. But heal 3 vitality. Vitality, as a keyword, grants the target +3 empty max HP. So this will give them 3 max HP and then fill it with the healing. There's also Wandify, adds single use and +1 pip to the 2 right sides. None of our characters are especially positioned to take advantage of that. Single use does exactly what you might think. After I use this side, replace it with a blank for the rest of the fight. I'm gonna take a random tier 2. Rain of Arrows. Replaces the top side with 1 damage ranged, which can hit targets in the back row, and avoids on-hit passives that the enemies might have. And Duplicate. Copies onto all allied sides this turn. Let's give that to the Thief, just so it's harder for them to completely whiff. Slimer is attacking both the top and bottom enemies for 3, so the Defender and Whirl, and the Snake is giving 1 poison to the Defender on the bottom line. That does 1 instantaneous damage as well as 1 poison at the end of the round, so it represents 2 damage. Getting Whirl to do some AoE damage here seems like a great setup for the Scrapper to then do some good Bloodlust damage with a bunch of damaged enemies on the field. The Defender should definitely take one of its biggest defensive results. I could take the Snake off board with the extra damage here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I'm 1 over. So I think I will get the Defender to continue rolling past its attack there. There we go. Okay. Our Bloodlust attack allows us to take down the Snake, so I don't have to worry about this damage turn over turn, and then we'll defend the characters that are about to take damage here. So I take 1 damage by the end of that turn, and limit the field heavily. Slimer. So when I remove the 5th HP of this enemy, it summons a Slimelet. A Slimelet is a smaller slime that also will attack me. As you may imagine, you've fought slime enemies in games before, right? That's how it works. You kill them and they come back stronger. More powerful than ever before. So that's the Slimelet. I gave all enemies 1 extra HP, which is, I think, why the Slimelet has 3 here. It has 3 sides that deal 3 damage, and it has 2 sides that are blanks, but because it was just summoned, it's not doing anything this turn. That said, it will never do anything, as we have enough damage to also kill it. A Rogue or a Guardian? Wow, Guardian got a lot better. Guardian now has 2 sides that say Shield 3, Engage. An Engage side has 2 times its effect when it hits a target with full HP. So if this Guardian hits, another Defender on full HP with a Shield 3 Engage, that's Shield 6. If it hits a Scrapper on turn 1, that's Shield 6 on top of its Shield 2, giving it the ability to do 9 damage to an enemy in a single attack. I'm taking the Guardian. It represents a huge amount of defense and offense for us at the same time. Here's a Bandit, which flees if an adjacent monster is overkilled by 2 or more. It actually rolled its worst side for me on turn 1 here, the 2 poison. Well done, Bandit. And then we have an Ogre, which gets +1 pip to all of its sides this fight, whenever I overcome one of the sided pips here. So it's 3rd health and it's 8th. Oh, Scrapper did roll a steel side. Glad to see that. Well, you can also use shield. Please, Guardian. Oh, I wanted the Engage side so bad. You know what? I am gonna go for broke here and try and kill the Ogre. So having done the 8th point of damage to that ogre, the ogre is now got bigger sides and it's doing 2 damage to all of my units on field. My goal here is to try and overkill the ogre by 2 so that the bandit runs away. A steel side will certainly help with that. Oh wow, I'm actually exactly perfectly prepared to not do this, I think. Oh no. So I need to do 4 damage to the ogre and then hit them with 3 to have 2 overkill, which will then make the bandit flee. But with a 3, a 3, and a 2, I'm not capable of delivering that hit. Oh no. Oof. And the defender is poisoned as well, so I'm gonna lose 2 of my characters this turn. The whirl and the defender. Come on, if a guardian had ever rolled its most common side. Oh. Well, here we go. I can show you what this was supposed to do. Ba-boom, 7 damage. Defeated heroes return with half HP. Thank you, tutorial. Magnet. This is a new item. Adds wham to the 2 right sides. Wham. ×2 versus targets that have a shield. Oh, okay, so like a shield bash kind of thing. Cool. And pocket phylactery. Adds pain to the 2 left sides and gives you 6 max HP. Pain says you take N damage when you activate it. N is the pip size. I'm kind of keen to see Magnet, to be entirely frank with you, but I don't have anyone that can utilize Magnet effectively. I'm gonna take it. Someone will be able to use that later. T3 items are about 3 times as good as tier 1 items. Yeah, typically. Let's put the magnet on the whirl. So the whirl now has cleave wham on its shield 1. So if it shields a shielded target, it will add 2 shields to that target and 1's on each side. That seems good. Just in case I need a very defensive turn. And also it sets up for a very effective usage on the scrapper in turn 1. Militia. This is a new type of unit. If an enemy I target gets 5 shields, I flee. Oh. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna continue pushing my roll then. That's a lot of, yeah, that'll help. Okay, so if I throw this shielding on the thief, the militia targeting them will run because it's 6 shield. That's great. Unfortunately, the only way to save the whirl on the top is not to shield the scrapper. Well. Not many targets left on the board with full HP anymore, so it's gonna be harder to trigger the... Where are we? Yeah, harder to trigger the defensive bonus for getting the militia to run away. I'm just gonna slowly whittle these guys down, trying to make sure that I keep as many of my units alive. I should be able to generate 5 damage in a single turn. That'll do it. Range side duplicates to all other sides, so I knew that I had it. Trapper and Warden. So Warden is definitely just a larger size of the Defender. Instead of having 2 sides with 1 damage, a blank and then a 1, 2, and 3 shield. It has a 1, 2, 3, 4 shield and 2 sides with 2 damage. The Trapper here is unique, with a kill an enemy with 4 or less HP ranged side, so you can just snipe someone in the back line. They also have 2 sides that do 1 damage and give the enemy vulnerable, so they'll take an additional damage from all sources, all dice and abilities rather, not all sources, technically, but all dice and abilities this turn. And then 2 sides that allow the Trapper to dodge all damage and enemy effects this turn. Having just like big shields on the team is still really useful with the Scrapper available. I want it. Slimelet already on the field, doing 3 damage to the Scrapper. Oh, this is great. The Whirl has rolled its Wham shield side. And the Slime Queen here is also doing 4 damage to a bunch of units on field. We're definitely going to be defending this. Oh, boy. I'm going to reroll one more time with the Warden, and it did get better. Okay. So the Scrapper is already trying to do 8 damage. Now 10. Ironclad, shield a single hero for 10. That unlocked a new item, Quicksilver. Keep unused shields. Didn't this used to be a 4-cost item? Wow. Slime Queen's got 14 HP. I can kill the Slime Queen this turn. I just bop. Got him. I think I will. That's exactly what I wanted to see when I picked up the Guardian and the Scrapper. Oh, this is perfect. The Scrapper has now got a Bloodlust side active. All of these enemies are going to have damage on them, so that's going to be great because I am already using a Cleave this turn, and I have a second one. I'm actually going to go really aggressive here and not kill any of the targets, but rather summon as many of them to the board as possible because I'm capable of generating a surprising amount of AoE. So the more low health targets on the board, the far easier a turn becomes. That said, I'm not going to turn down the ability to just take targets out. Actually, you do that. Only a Slimelet with 1 HP. We've unlocked a door. We've beat level 8, which has unlocked a mode, Shortcut, so that we can start the game from here instead of doing the opener with all of the lower HP characters. Anti-Venom, immune to poison, or Chainmail, plus 3 max HP. Let's get that extra max HP. I'm going to give it to the Thief, just to even things out on the board at the moment. We've got Bones enemies here. They have 4 damage sides and 2 3 damage sides, sorry. And when they die, they deal 1 damage to adjacent enemies. There's also a Fanatic here, who has all of these sides that do a lot of damage to both me and them. So they can do 8 damage to themselves and me at the same time, 6 or 4. I would, frankly, love to get a steel side this turn. I think I'll have to settle for a Bloodlust side, though. Because if I set this up correctly, something like this, I can get the Bloodlust sign to have 5, which will cause it to kill a Bones, which then does 1 damage to each target each side, which then kills another Bones. So this takes 2 targets off the field, and it makes the sniper in the backline very vulnerable. Any AoE will now just take them out. I do really want to defend the Warden as best I can. And in fact, the best way to defend them is probably by striking down the enemy that would otherwise kill him. 1 bone's left, and it runs. All right, we got a ranger or juggler. So juggler was offered before and is now re-offered? This might just be because we have so many different, or not as many different colors of character active at the moment, but this didn't used to happen. You didn't used to get re-offered characters. Ranger. Ranger looks a little bit better than it used to. Has a 2 damage ranged engage side. So again, engage means it'll do 2 times 2 targets on full HP. Then 3 sides that do cleave at range still, and 1 side that does 2 damage ranged. And then the juggler, which we've seen before. I really like the juggler, but because of that, I feel the tendency that I want to not pick the juggler, because in most circumstances, I would make any excuse to pick the juggler. So I can trust that in the course of this series, I will pick the juggler enough times. There's also a worth in noting that the ranger prevents or proposes a unique possibility in this fight, which is the zombie enemy, which we now see has 4 sides of 2 damage cleave and 2 sides of 2 damage poison, dies rather, if they take 4 or more damage in a single attack. So if I leave them on full HP and then hit them with 2 damage engage, they die. I like it. I no longer really like the Rain of Arrows item. I'm not going to equip that 21 at this point. Okay, so they all just do some cleave damage of some kinds here. Ooh, Scrapper and Guardian roll their best sides. Love to see it. Oh my god! Everyone has rolled pretty much their best side here. Warden could have rolled 1 more shield, but I didn't want to push my luck. So the Guardian gives all this additional shielding to the Scrapper, who now does 9 damage in a single hit. However, the Ranger also does have their 2 damage engage side, so that'll just take out the zombie wholesale. And then we can kill a Slimer instantly with the Scrapper's damage. We can even take out the Slimelet it summoned, but realistically we should just get close to killing the Slimer next turn. Oh, that's great. I mean, I can block a huge amount of their incoming damage this turn, but how valuable is that to me? As it turns out, very valuable. Because blocking their damage will be my damage, courtesy of the Scrapper. Glyph of Purity and Wand Grips. Glyph of Purity adds Cleanse to the top and bottom sides. So Cleanse reduces targets' negative effects by N. Both ones they already have from previous rounds and ones they otherwise would take this round. So if I use Cleanse Shield 1 on a target that's about to take a poison, they will shield themselves from the attack and they will cleanse themselves preemptively from that poison. Very useful. That would in fact give Cleanse 6 to the Guardian. There's also Wand Grips at single use and +2 to the pips on the left side. Honestly, that actually does seem pretty good for the Whirl. 1 damage to all enemies. 3 damage to all enemies? Pretty sick. Now we're cooking. Give me that Wand Grips. Tutorial. There is an option to bypass achievements and unlock everything. I'm not going to do that. I like the drip feed. Oh boy. That's a lot of shielding. I love when they attack the Scrapper because I already want to shield the Scrapper. Thank you. Thank you for letting me. Oh, the ranged engage side. Enemies target randomly, but they prefer targets who are not already dying. Cool. Let's give way too much defense to the Scrapper, who can now do 9 damage to a single target. 13 damage to a single target. The Wiz in the back line here is a character that can do 4 damage weakened to a target, so that pretty much makes them useless next turn. Can heal all their allies by 3. They can summon 2 bones, the previous enemy we saw, and do 2 damage to all enemies. However, Their 4th pip, if taken away from them, stuns them for the rest of that turn. So I stun them. They're ranged and in the back line, they're usually hard to access, but the ranger doesn't care and shoots them stunned. Then I'll take out the fanatic that is not targeting the scrapper, and then the other fanatic loses a bunch of HP hitting a shield. I mean, we're already set up here. I'm not even going to continue rolling. The whirl does 3 damage in AoE, and we defend the whirl, and then watch the fanatic die. Leader or bash? So, leader has a side that allows a target hero to use their dice again, 2 sides that do 3 damage, a side that shields 2, and smiths. Smith gives the target of the shield 2, +2 to their damage and shield sides this turn. And there's also 2 damage duplicate. Duplicate, again, copies itself onto all allied sides this turn. And then there's Bash. Bash has 7 damage exert, 1 giant hit, but it's so big that they need to recover the turn after. They're exerted. They replace all sides with blanks until the end of the next turn. They also have 5 damage heavy, which would be really good in this fight, because 5 damage heavy is just going to kill a bones. Heavy means it has to target the enemy with the most HP. They still have a steel side. They also have stun an enemy with equal or less HP than me. I'm going to take the bash, so that I can continue trying to use some steel. Because I really like steel. Oh no. Okay, the Lich has rolled 1 damage to all enemies and weaken? Must you, Lich? Must it transpire like this? Yeah, it's gonna be kind of annoying. We're gonna have a lot less usefulness out of our characters next turn because of it. So the Lich has every 5th health, summon a bones when you take it away. And they also have the ability themselves to summon bones, as well as petrify our side. Petrifying a character transforms 2 of their sides to stone this fight, preventing those from being used. Unfortunately, that will be exceptionally effective against us. As I don't have the ability to cleanse that off right now. The whirl did roll my 3 damage to all enemies single use side, so I want to summon as many bones as possible before really attacking. So that'll do it, with the ranger directly attacking the Lich here. Cool, and then we summon a new one with the AoE, allowing Bash then to clear that target. Okay. I still defend for a good amount of HP. I set up a very favorable board. It's going to be significantly easier than otherwise imagined to be able to actually take out these characters. Unfortunately, Bash is not going to be able to connect with a good target there. Oof. Okay. Let's have the whirl take out both bones on the bottom side there. And I'm actually going to continue working on the Lich with the Ranger. Lich is in the backline, which is why no one's capable of attacking them immediately. You can see that it's receded behind the other characters. Sure, I'll take this. This seems like a totally reasonable spread. Let's do 2 AoE strikes on this top line to get both of those Liches to die. And then I can fully defend all incoming damage. Sure, there's some additional bones on the field, but the Lich is taking damage turn over turn, and that's all that matters. We'll get through it. Together. Honestly, I'm not gonna argue with a pretty good roll there again. Getting a bunch of bones back down to low HP, leaving them open to further AoE attacks. Please stop weakening me. Once we're weakened, because all of our AoE attacks are only 1 damage, once we're weakened, we're basically denied the ability to AoE anymore. It's not what we're looking for. Okay, so I should get a cascading death of characters here. There we go. And in fact, if I set up for this correctly, I can leave him with only 1 bones on 1 HP. Lich is no longer going to summon any more bones except from its actual abilities, actual abilities are. That's some good damage. Probably not going to be able to take everything out. Never mind, just enough to take everything out. Kite shield. Set all self-shield sides or shield sides to 3. That increases the Guardian's shield 2 cleave to shield 3 cleave, but that's it. I guess it's pretty good for the Whirl's shield cleave. But there's also Twisted Flax. +1 to the top and bottom of the die, but -1 to the middle. That'd be pretty good on the Whirl. Pretty good on the Ranger, actually. Swap 2 items on a hero. Equipped items apply their effects in order, 1 and then 2, yes. So we can see, actually, I'll demonstrate the difference here. The Rain of Arrows replaces an increased side versus the other order where it is increased by the Twisted Flax. Anyhow. I'll give it to the Ranger to give them 2 damage ranged cleave AoE sides, because those are pretty valuable. Bash can actually stun a character this turn. The Ogre will be lower HP than Bash pretty quickly. And if the Ranger rolls a good damage... Never mind. If the Ranger had rolled a good damage side... Let's quickly shield the Whirl before I attack, because the Spiker has on hit damage the attacker for 2, and I'd rather avoid that. So I only take 1 damage on Whirl, but we end that round with 3 HP off of both of the enemy characters. Bash does a lot of our damage right now. I don't know if I want Bash to just consistently stun an enemy, especially an enemy that's only doing 1 damage to it. Oh no, I can stun the Spiker this turn. That's a lot of defense for the Ranger. That sounds good to me. Stun the Spiker, because it was lower HP than me. Perfect. I'll defend as much as I can. We leave the Ogre with 3 HP left so that it doesn't get additional damage to our entire team that turn, because once it loses that 3rd pip, recall that it will be doing an additional pip worth of damage from all of its sides. Thankfully, I am certain we already have the resources to take the enemy out with our heavy hit and 2 AoEs. Brawler. Interesting. So Brawler here is another character that has a steel side. So having 2 characters with steel sides and 2 characters with the ability to defend them heavily, I love it. Brawler also has 2 sides that say 2 damage Rampage. Rampage can be reused if it was lethal to a target. And a 2 3 damage self-shield sides. So they do 3 damage and they shield you for 3. All of this is really intuitive. I'm only going to describe these the first time as we go through them, but they will stick in your mind forever. I know they have stuck in mine. Then we have the Paladin. The Paladin has the cleanse side, as I'd mentioned previously, negating negative effects, has 3 4 damage heavy sides, just some good damage for him, and then heal and shield 3 to the same target, a very powerful defensive maneuver. That said, I'll be taking the Brawler, thank you. I don't know if I want to give them wand grips though. Actually, what I do want to give them is Twisted Flax, so they have 3 damage Rampage, because that's much more useful. Let's give the extra max HP to Bash, so Bash is capable of stunning more characters. And then I'll give wham to the ranged attack on the ranger, just in case. We also, importantly, put the wand grips on their ranged attack engage. So now that does 4 damage ranged and engaged. So we can do 8 damage in a single hit. But then, of course, I can't roll it any more times that fight. Though that's actually pretty important in this instance where we have the ghost, who after you deal after you deal 3 points of damage to them, they lose their 5th from last pip. They become immune to damage this turn. We've also got 2 cores, which after taking damage the first time each turn move themselves to the back. They also do a huge amount of damage, both direct and in AoE. And then the Knoll, which targets heavy or uses exert attacks, does a huge amount of damage, and reduces damage from incoming dice and abilities by 1. So it's pretty hardy. Definitely going to take the Guardian's shield there. And I'm going to prevent the ghost from being able to kill the ranger this turn by taking it out with enough shields that it can't poison our ranger. Perfect. Unfortunately, Bash is no longer on full HP, so the engage side is no longer going to be as effective as it once was. Ooh! Yeah, that's a lot better, though. Five achievements and chaos. Use the side with 3+ keywords. That was our ranged, engage, cleave. Sorry, range, engaged, single use side from the ranger there. Bash is now capable of doing 8 damage to a single target in a single hit here, so I can prevent the ranger from dying and then knock the core. And this will be easy to push through now. Glass Heart. Death is permanent. That means that character is removed from your roster. They won't reappear in another fight. But +1 pips to all sides. That's pretty good. +1 pips to all sides is a very, very powerful effect. However, Ogre Blood might be a lot more exploitable. Ogre Blood adds Bloodlust to the middle side, giving you +1 pip for each damaged enemy. That could give the ranger the ability to do some serious business. In cleave, no less. I'll give the shield wham sides to the Guardian, just in case, I guess. Okay, we've got 2 new enemies here as well. New to the series at this point, the 3.0 series, that is. Cyclops, which is stunned when you deal its 9th from last HP to it. And then there's the Slate, which has stone health. It has 6 charges of that at the moment, typically 5, but 6 because of our modifiers. And each HP must be removed individually. Let's go. This Bash is trying to do good damage, good damage. Oh boy. I kind of get to do whatever I want right now, I think. Let's do a bunch of damage to the Cyclops. And then I'm gonna exert attack against it. Follow up with a rampage attack to kill it. Let's defend our Guardian and Brawler each here. Do some damage to the core and then end the turn. I could have also removed the core if I really wanted to, but I'm not actually scared of it with my current loadout, so... Many other times, though, over the course of this series, I will be desperately terrified of a core. because they are nightmarish. They do so much damage. And with certain party combinations, they can be so difficult to take care of. I'll happily take instances of anything that does damage, and I will defend myself as reasonably as I can. Whilst doing so, the slate runs away. 15 fights fought and won. It's unlocked a feature, alternate random items. Ooh, Stoic. That's a new class. Never seen this before. Stoic. 15 HP. That's a lot of max HP for a character to have. Stun an enemy with equal or less HP than me. 2 sides that do 2 damage self-shield. And then redirect all enemy attacks and effects from an ally to me. Self-shield. So step in between someone. Intercede. And those have varying size. I mean, I like those, but it makes you significantly, like, the Stoic can't provide shield to another character. And I know that both the Brawler and the Bash have a steel side, so they want shields provided to them. I'm gonna take the Stalwart for that reason. The Stalwart has 2 sides that do 3 shield cleanse, has 2 sides that do 2 shield cleave, has a side that does shield 2 double use, so you can use it 2 times this turn, and a 5 damage exert, just in case they need to do some damage themselves. I wouldn't say no in this fight, though. They have the ability to take out some spiders. I want to damage as many characters on the field as possible before I let the ranger's attack fly. Yeah, I guess that's how I do this. Because it sets up for the Brawler to be able to use its 3 damage rampage at least once to hit an enemy, and then another time to hit a spider. And I'll defend Bash as much as I can. Tyrantus is terrifying. It has 26 HP, 2 sides that do 12 damage straight up to an enemy, has 2 sides that do 3 damage poison and weaken at the same time. Thankfully, the Stalwart can exactly prevent all of that with a shield 3 cleave. Sorry, shield 3 cleanse. Has 2 sides that summon 3 spiders. And when you deal their 10th last HP, kill the topmost enemy, so I'll lose my Brawler. You can dodge that with different effects in the game, but I don't have any of those at the moment, so I will be losing the Brawler. Let's just do all of the damage that we've rolled and defend all of the damage that the enemy is throwing at us. Oh boy. Well, I mean, the Brawler on the top line is gonna die this turn anyway. So it doesn't matter that they're the one being targeted. Give them some shielding, wham, extra shielding on them, allow you to attack first, you then die as a result. Oops! Lose a hero during your turn. Unlocks the item Thimble. Thimble, a 7-tier item, immune to damage during my turn. And then we'll take out the Tyrantus with the remaining hit from Bash. Gauntlet, +1 pip to all damage sides, or Greatsword. Replace the middle side with 5 damage Inspired. Inspired says ×2 if the previous dice was higher this turn. So this is a 5 damage Inspired side. If I do 6 or greater pips worth of effect on a previous die, Greatsword will then be inspired and do 2 times its own effect, which is 10 damage. I could also turn this down and get 3 random tier 3 items, but I don't want to do that. Especially when the Brawler over here has lost one side lost 1 pip on their middle side with Twisted Flax. So if I replace that middle side now with Greatsword, that's value, baby. Also, with Bash doing 7 damage exert and often having giant steel sides, and Ranger often doing 8 pip sides with the 4 damage engage, I think the inspired side will actually do 10 damage a lot of the time. Oh, Demon! Demon is completely different to how it used to be. It has 13 HP, its sides are very similar. It has 2 sides that summon an Imp, another unit that we've seen before. It has 2 sides that deal 2 damage to all enemies, and it has 2 sides that deal 6 damage, and then it inflict pain. So the target will do damage to themselves with any die they use next turn. However, their effect is now must be removed by individual dice damage, and that is their final health and their 11th health. Both must be removed with individual dice damage. Cool. I can do that. I'm also going to cleanse the Ranger, so I don't have to worry about them inflicting pain on themselves. Oh, I'd love to get the inspired side for Brawler this turn. Unfortunately, we don't. Let's take out the Troll. Perfect. And we start working on the Demon as well. Unfortunately, Bash is exerted this turn, not capable of doing anything. With that 2 damage AoE, I know the 2 damage shield cleave is going to be especially useful this turn. Unfortunately, the Ranger is capable of doing 2 damage in AoE to the enemies, but not enough to take out the Sniper in the back line. I need more range. Thankfully, we still get a reasonable amount of damage on these enemies. And now the Sniper is vulnerable to a lot of our range damage. Yep, that'll do it. And, in fact, we'll Rampage to take out the Brawler. Sorry, Brawler Rampage to take out the final enemy. Troll Slayer, kill 2 trolls. We've unlocked the item Troll Nose. Start with 1 regen. The Dancer, or the Valkyrie. So the Dancer is the 3rd tier orange hero on offer here. Has 1 side that deals 1 damage to all enemies at rampages, so it can be used again if it was lethal. And it has pain, so the Dancer also takes a damage when using it. That's important because if you give this like a lot of pips and it's like 5 damage to all enemies rampage, cool, but pain? Ooh, that hurts. The Dancer dies. The Dancer also has 2 sides that do 1 damage in cantrip, which would actually be really good for setting up Bloodlust. Actually, that's kind of cool. The Bloodlust would be on the gain 1 reroll cantrip side. So as the Dancer is re-rolling and doing 1 damage pings effectively to other enemies with 1 damage cantrip, it's increasing how many re-rolls it gets when it rolls back to cantrip. There's also Valkyrie, who also really likes the Ogre Blood item. Valkyrie has a 4 damage Death Wish side, does 2 times its effect if she's already dying this turn. Also has 2 sides that target an ally who cannot die now this turn, and a shield 2 rescue side. Rescue can be used again if it saves a hero, and then revive the 2 topmost defeated allies. I really like the idea of that synergy with the Dancer, so I'm going to do it. +2 and single use to a left-hand side. I don't know if I want to put 1 grips on anything. Realistically, I think the one that I want to put it on the most is Bash, just so I have a 9 damage attack, because that's capable of taking a single core out immediately. You know what? I'll do it. We're up against the Basilisk. On hit, turn the attacking side that hit the Basilisk into stone. They also have 3 2 damage cleave sides. Would love those. A 2 damage poison side, that's fine. And then the 1 damage cleave and weaken. Don't like that, no thank you. Do I push my luck with the Dancer, or do I just accept 4 damage being really good? I'm gonna just accept 4 damage being really good. So, I've got a Bash to take 1 target off the field, Brawler to take another target off the field, and then I'm gonna hasten the demise of the Fanatic with the Dancer. Getting targets off the field on the very first turn. Oh boy. Oh, I love it so much. Oh. What splendid efficiency of action. Speaking of efficiency of action, what I'm doing right now, not especially efficient. However, we're already overcoming the enemy by such overwhelming force. I have all of my units left on the field that it's no longer really about efficiency as much as how quickly can I end the fight now that it's not difficult. Second heart. Get an extra HP for each HP. Stalwart says I want an item too. Spike Zone. +3, wow. And Fumble, and +3 pips to the middle column. 50% chance to be blank each turn. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm gonna get double the HP for Bash. There we go, who's now capable of stunning big targets. Big targets like the Hydra, who I am terrified of. The Hydra dies if they take damage 5 times in a single turn. However, they have 10 damage hits they can do to enemies, 5 damage cleaves they can do to enemies, as well as 2 damage cleave and weaken at the same time. Ugh. Don't do that to me. Oh boy. Unfortunately, the 5 damage heavy side would target a Hydra right now rather than a zombie. Could take out a zombie, can't take out a Hydra. I'm gonna have to full reroll here. The Dancer. I'm gonna let Brawler take the 5 damage side because that's just the ability to kill a zombie immediately. In fact, I can take out each of the zombies, 2 of the zombies rather, instantly. And then start working on the Hydra a little. Yeah, unfortunately, with how weakened we are, the Dancer is not going to be really capable of doing much this turn. My best thing would be if I could get the evade side, dodge all enemy attacks and effects this turn. Stalwart's capable of taking out the enemy on the high side. That sounds great to me. Cool. I wasn't especially capable of being able to do 5 instances of damage to the Hydra in a single turn, but... Oh, hang on. I'm actually short on damage here. And we'll continue to roll. But I can chunk my way through all the rest of its health. Paladin or Stoic? Again, because I am kind of still reliant on those steel effects, I'll be taking the Paladin here. Honestly, I will put the... oh no, I don't need to do that. Bash is still capable of taking out Core by itself. Cool. This is our setup. So we've got an Archer, Core, and Dragon. This is the final boss of this run. The Dragon with 41 HP has 2 sides that do 5 damage to all enemies, 2 sides that do 15 damage to the highest HP enemy, and oh, it rolled this first? Rude. 2 sides that do 3 damage poison and cleave. Ugh. I can avoid a lot of things with the Dancer just by allowing them to dodge this turn, and I think that's a great idea. Unfortunately, all of these attacks right now are heavy. I don't want heavy attacks. Well, not really being given too much of an option in that one. I'll defend for a bunch of damage and only do 5 myself to the enemy. That's kind of not great. That's not good progress. Okay. Let's take a heal and shield side. That's going to be very effective at saving the bash right now. Unfortunately, because those targets are in the back line, the brawler's rampage side is ineffectual. Ooh, here we go. So now we gain 3 rerolls when we hit this side, which should make it a lot easier to continue pushing. Another 3 rerolls. Beautiful. I'm going to continue rolling, trying to get bash. Wow, to its steel side. And you know what? Dodging the core's incoming damage is great too. So now we have bash with a 5 damage side, but I want to inspire bash. So I'll get you to hit with 8 damage. And then the inspired greatsword can hit for another 10. Dragon's down on half HP at this point. Significantly lower than half HP, actually. I was really hoping I was going to roll one of the early giant exert sides and just take the core out. But, oh, the dancer hitting the 1 damage cantrip sides keeps moving it to the back line, actually keeping it safe in the process. There goes the dragon. Now it's just you and me, Archer and Core. And I'm afraid I'll be taking this one home. We get a dragon kill, a hard victory, 10 achievements, and victory. All unlocked at the same time there. I mean, we can show the stats here. We only had 3 deaths actually the entire time as well. We've unlocked a new cool mode shortcut and a new mode in Cursed. Ah, the cool modes folder, the cursed modes folder, and the crappy modes folder. Interesting. We've also unlocked a higher difficulty in unfair, and I'm very quickly going to check in terms of achievements. Where are we? Ledger. Achievements, cool. We have killed a dragon, which has unlocked a new end boss in Hexia. We'll have a closer look at Hexia later. We've also unlocked Unfair. We've unlocked 5 heroes from having completed 10 achievements total, and 5 heroes from having completed a game mode. Cool. So we're going to see a lot more stuff that we remember in the next episode, but until then, let me say that my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Slice and Dice. This is the 3.0 release. This is available now on Steam. There is a link at the top of the description down below to the Steam store page where you can pick the game up for yourself. I also have a lot of history with this game, so the series playlist in the top left, or in the description down below, might be for the old series as well. Hopefully we'll see you next time.